What's good? What's good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of The Urban Platform Speaks. Make sure to like and subscribe as you tune into the channel, check out the content. And with that being said, man, I want to speak on Stephanie White, man. Just basically made it official, in my opinion, that Caitlin Clark is not coming back. Now, they've been playing with Indiana Fever fans, their feelings for a few months now, right? First, it was Caitlin Clark would be coming back. She was day to day. Then once they said that, then last week or the week before they played the Dallas Wings, they was like, pretty soon, maybe even this week. And then they delayed that. So they played the Dallas Wings. They played and she didn't come back for that game. Then they played the Washington Mystics. She didn't come back for that game. Then they played Phoenix. I'm sorry, they played Connecticut. And that's the game that Sophie Cunningham got hurt. So now that Sophie Cunningham is hurt, I guess they feel like it's even more they feel like it will be easier for the fans to take that Caitlin Clark is not coming back because they don't want to risk any injury. But let me read like a statement. I want to read a statement that Stephanie White made. Let me see if I can. All right. When you ask if there's any update to Caitlin Clark, Stephanie White said, until you can get into practice and until you guys see her in practice, it's really status quo. Same as we have been, saying. Right. So basically, what she's saying is, again, she's going back to like it's nothing really has changed, it's status quo. But now we found out that Caitlin Clark has injured herself in practice. Now she has like a foot injury. So that to me, to add on to a groin injury, that to me means that her groin, number one, was not entirely healed. So she was trying to come back probably. And what was happening is her body tried to compensate in some other way, and that put strain on her foot. And now she hurt her foot. So that's really more bad news. That's if they're being totally honest about the situation, because it could be a situation where, like I said, with Sophie Cunningham going down, they know that they're basically, they're up the creek. No, Sophie Cunningham is definitely out for the rest of this year. So who would be, I know you would have had Kelsey Mitchell, Aaliyah Boston, Natasha Howard, but there's so many different injuries that can you imagine what would happen if you brought Caitlin Clark back to try to salvage the season, make a push for the playoffs, and she re-aggravated that groin and now her foot is injured? I said from the very beginning that I didn't think that Caitlin Clark was going to come back. Once she missed that game with the Washington Mystics on that Friday, I was like, nah, she's not coming back. And then Sophie Cunningham gets hurt Sunday. Was it Sunday or Monday? I'm not sure. Either one of the two. She got hurt either Sunday or Monday. So Sophie Cunningham gets hurt. I was like, yeah, there definitely no way Caitlin Clark is coming back when they're as short-handed as they are. Sophie Cunningham is a big part of, it's good to have Sophie Cunningham out there when you got Caitlin Clark out there, just as somebody who is, somebody to be able to hurt like an enforcer, almost like a Charles Oakley, somebody out there to watch her back, not just her back, but anybody else out there, just really for protection and stuff like that, and enforce. And she's a really good basketball player. I don't want it to seem like she don't have any offensive skills or no deep defensive capabilities, but she's very important to what the Indiana Fever do. And once she went down with that leg injury, I knew it was all over with. I don't see how it just to me, it just wouldn't make any sense to bring Caitlin Clark back, even if she didn't have another supposed injury like to her foot. If it was just a groin, I would still recommend that she stay out for the rest of the season. Protect her future. Make sure that when she comes back next year, not only is she good, but make sure she could be even better than new. Just have her work out, put her on a strengthening program. First off, you want to allow her to get the rest that she needs so she can recover. Put her on that strengthening program, and she'll just be good for next year. But no reason for the Indiana Fever to rush her back. I thought they kind of rushed her back when she came back and she played against, I think it was the New York Liberty. She came back and she had a really good game. And a little bit after that, she went out again. This type of injury, they say, it takes time. It's not like you need an operation or treatment. It just takes time for this type of injury to heal naturally, and so that's what you want to do. So the way the season has worked out, it's almost like it's a blessing in disguise to allow Caitlin to, just rest and get better. And with the way that the Indiana Fever operate, if there was any chance that Caitlin could come back, I think that they would take that chance, risk further injury, and then find themselves in a worse position than what they're in. So this to me is like fate stepping in and helping the Indiana Fever out, helping them to manage this situation their own selves without them screwing it up. I know a lot of people, there's a lot of pressure to get Caitlin Clark back out there from the fans, maybe even from the WNBA, especially when all you hear is ratings are dropping. So this would be a situation where they can just allow Caitlin to get healthy and come back and really just do her thing next year. And just imagine if they may be able to put themselves in a position to get a high draft pick if they don't, because I don't even really see them. I see them falling out of the way things have been going for the Indiana Fever, and I hate to say this, but I see them falling out of the playoffs. They could quite possibly, the Mystics could quite possibly catch the Fever. Not that I want that to happen, but it's a possibility that they, because things are not really working out their way, number one. Number two, their schedule from here on out gets even tougher than what it was. That's why I said last week when they had those 3 easy games, the Dallas Wings, the Washington Mystics, Connecticut Sun. Those 3, had they won those 3 games, all 3 of those games without Caitlin Clark, they would be sitting pretty right now. They would be in a good position right now, and they would not have to force Caitlin Clark to come back. If they'd have won those 3 games without Caitlin Clark, then they could have allowed her to get more rest and come back like right before the playoffs. Because I think as it stands right now, the Indiana Fever, I think, have either 8 or 9 games. If I'm not mistaken, I think it's 9 games. But like I said, and the next thing I think they got coming up is the Minnesota Lynx. And you don't want Caitlin Clark coming back for the Minnesota Lynx because you want to gradually work her way back into shape. But that point right there is it's a moot point because she's not coming back. I really, in my opinion, I don't know why the Indiana Fever felt like they couldn't be honest with their fans and the public and just let them know what the truth was when it came to Caitlin Clark. If she's not ready, she's not ready. What can you do about it? I'm not sure if they use that as like a strategy point. Like I guess when teams prepare for them, they got to prepare as if Caitlin is going to be there. But I don't think that would have made too much of a difference. I think teams are going to probably prepare they would have prepared anyway, like Caitlin was going to be there. No matter what the Indiana Fever chose to put out publicly, I think those teams would have still prepared for the Indiana Fever as if Caitlin Clark was coming. But now it's a moot point. Like I said, no way she's coming back. I mean, I wouldn't, even if she was 100%, I would just shut her down for the year, allow her to work out, work on her game, get better for next year. But yeah, this is a bad. It's not really good for the Fever fans, but I think it's the right thing to do for Caitlin Clark. Allow her to heal up 100% and come back ready for next year. So that's my take on it. Make sure to like and subscribe. And with that being said, don't forget to leave a comment, and I'll check you all out next video. Peace.